How's your weekend, Coach?
Well, got some good family time in. Slept, had some good sleep on Sunday night, which was nice. No, it was fun. It was great. It was great to watch the Bees go out and compete. Um, and a lot of learning moments, sitting back, watching film last couple days, and just making sure that we're looking for places where we can get better and maintain our strength. So excited for this week of practice to continue to improve. I think that's very consistent with a lot of our guys that, yes, we're happy in the moment of the results, but we're already looking to move forward and get better.
How you say you're looking for areas to improve? Have you identified a couple of areas in particular that maybe you're focused on?
Yeah, a little situational baseball, making sure that we're continuing to, when we need to get the bunt down, move runners, identify what the defense and the pitchers are trying to do to us. A lot of times, you see pitchers are setting tendencies, and are they pitching us in? Are they working away? How are they trying to finish counts? What's our approach like at the plate? Continue to trying to find ways to produce runs. Also, just small communication things, making sure that how we're relaying information to the guys is coming across the right way. We're using those learning, those short moments in between innings to coach up the guys. You want them during the game to go out and compete and play and be natural. So there's a fine line from overdoing it and pushing them too much or trying to clutter their brain. But also just making sure that they're staying present. So sometimes it's just grabbing a guy and putting hands on him for a second and saying, "Hey, I believe in you. Go do it." Or even, on the pitching side, we talked just yesterday quite a bit about our control the zone numbers, meaning our walks and Ks versus our opponent's walks and Ks. The good minus the bad, and making sure that we are doing a good job with those things. So we want our pitchers to strike out guys. We want our hitters not to strike out. We want our hitters to walk a lot, and we don't want to walk the opponent. So just paying attention to where those numbers are, because they can directly correlate with wins and losses.
On the flip side, there sure is a lot going right with you guys right now. And one of those things is certainly the bullpen and the way that it's performed. How would you describe your bullpen through 10 games and the way it's performed?
One of the most exciting pieces to it is their identity that they're creating together. It's from what I understand, I'm not down there during the game, but you see how they prepare in pregame and how they communicate with one another. They're having a lot of fun. They're working on their craft, and the energy that they bring when they come into the game, the efficiency in which they pitch helps our offense late in the game go out there and swing it. Because you could say on the offensive side, these guys are resilient. They continue to pound the rock late in the game, which is very true. But what also helps doing that is spending very little time on defense and our pitchers getting us back in the dugout. So we feel like we always have a bat in our hands and a helmet on our head. So helps.
And that kind of seems like a really well-assembled group. You guys have a lot of different guys for a lot of different situations. Is that all kind of by design? Is that how you wanted to build that bullpen?
Looking for competitors. Guys that fit the mold of being a Beeve. When you're out recruiting, it's not always just about the stuff. It's about the attitude in which and the conviction in which you execute. So it's, there are guys that maybe don't light up the radar gun, but their belief and ability to take on any situation without worrying about plan B or plan C. Guys go into it and like, this is my plan. I'm in control. I got the ball. I'm going to go throw this pitch. It's when guys start looking over and asking, what should I do right now? Those are the guys that we're trying to avoid. So each of our guys that come out of the bullpen, they know their strengths and they know their plan of action. They're prepared when they're down there. They're talking about hitters and what they would do in different situations. And it helps tempo. When you see guys out there with big time tempo, it means they're in control and they know what they want and they know what they're going to do. that's, you look at those guys, and really, I think it's just these guys communicating with one another and doing what they can. I mean, you live in Corvallis, and all of our baseball guys live together in houses or apartments. They spend a ton of time together. They eat together. They rest together. They go fishing together. Whatever it is, they're doing it together. And you genuinely build a brotherhood here, and these guys love each other, and they care about one another and what they do on and off the field. And that's what we look for, is guys that are going to fit within that group and challenge them. I mean, everyone's very different, no doubt about it. There's no two that are the same. But you need character like that. You got to have a couple oddballs. You got to have some goofsters. You got to have, some guys that are serious and quiet. A little bit of everything creates for, a wonderful atmosphere, and helps each guy, because now you got someone different that can help you in an area where you don't necessarily know. So diversity is important, with character and with life skills and everything.
Out of that group, who's the biggest character?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, Watkins he's a unique guy. He's got a couple quirks to him. Very intellectual as well, thought out. I've enjoyed tons of conversations with him. I mean, you can pretty much talk about anything with him, and when he starts opening up, it can create a fun conversation. Brock Townsend, very quiet, but you can see that guy, and he'll do anything. He'll do anything what it takes to get the job done. So everyone has tremendous respect for him and his work ethic. Salgado, he's full of energy, not afraid to dance and show emotion and speak his mind. Burns. I mean, you can go through everybody, and everyone's got the different little piece to them. I suppose I shouldn't share too much of the information and give away all their top secrets, but
what about Mully?
Yeah, I was about to say Mully. He's been through it. He's like the veteran guy. He just turned 24 years old, and so he acts like he's the old man down there, but I keep reminding him he's still a young buck, and he's got a lot of life left in him to go out and compete over the years. But it's fun, because after going around and in pro ball, you see some of the rookies, and then you see the older guys, and the older guys will be out wearing flip-flops and got a newspaper and going golfing and everything, and then you got the young guys that are always, coming correct. And I don't know, but it's a great balance. You have some older guys, some younger guys, and they feed off one another. The older guys teach the younger guys, how to be a beeve and do things the right way. The young guys provide a lot of energy to keep some of the older guys. I'm getting a little older. They keep them in check and provide a lot of energy. So it's good balance there as well.
I wanted to ask specifically about Salgado. I know he was probably on a lot of people's radars after the Padres took him, but what was kind of the process of getting him from Houston to Corvallis? How did he get on your guys' radar?
I just had some contacts across the country that had reached out and told me to make sure I'm taking a look at this guy, and started following him, started communicating with him little by little, just phone calls, text messages, checking in. Learning a lot about his background, his family, what makes him tick, right? You see the stuff on video and you're like, wow, that's some electric stuff, no doubt about it. But it took a lot of time. We want to make sure that guys that come here really want to be here. And watching how diligent he was in the classroom, I mean, he had to get some stuff taken care of, and he kept pushing forward. Every time we checked in with him, he was checking all the boxes and making sure he was thriving in the classroom and getting better, and just really good at communicating. So it was a lengthy process. He didn't know if he was going to be taken off in the draft or not. And as things changed, There was a little bit of time we didn't talk much, but when we connected again, it was like we've been talking every day. And you just see him; he's a good human being, and I think that obviously coming here from across the country and being a part of this program, a lot of the older guys, have started to teach him what it means to be a part of a family in this environment. And I'd be curious to see what his thoughts were, after everything's said and done. And the last day that he puts on a Beaver jersey, I'd be shocked if he didn't really feel like he was a Bee for the rest of his life, as everyone who comes here does. So I think he's made just in this short period of time that he's been here, made some lifelong relationships, and brought out a different version of himself than he's probably ever known.
I know a year's a lot of time and difference compared to where you were last year to where you are now, but is there anything that surprised you about this team at this point in the season, from where you were about 13, 14 games into last year to where you are about 10, 11 now?
No, I wouldn't say I've been surprised by much of anything. I mean, expectations are always high. You look at guys and if you put in the work and you're always honest. I mean, one thing that we try to do a fantastic job with is giving the truth, hearing the truth, and being able to act on the truth. And I always felt that if we do those things right, and you really care about the guy next to you, that the best version can come out. And I look at these guys, and as a coaching staff, we sit in the office, and there's not a guy that you don't say, what, this guy is real special. He can do this, he can do that. We talk a lot about what a guy can do and where the opportunities are that are going to allow him to be the most successful for him personally and to help the group. We try to be very transparent about people's roles and where they sit on the depth chart. And I just think transparency and honesty allows for people to really go out and produce, rather than always wonder, what should I be doing? What could I have done differently? Why am I not this? If you can get the complaints and everything out of the way and just focus on helping the guy next to you and helping the family win, then that's why I believe we're where we're at right now, is the guys are bought into being there for the guy next to them. And so I'm not surprised. I just watch how they go about their business, and I watch how the coaching staff really bonds together, and we have very open and direct and just sometimes some heated debates in our conversation, but it's healthy, and we all look forward to that kind of stuff. So, and it's encouraged. We don't want to necessarily agree with one another initially. We want to break it down and see it from everyone else's lens before we make a decision together.
Hey, Mitch, we didn't ask you last week just about the health of the roster, and I guess Dukart was a little banged up. Is everybody healthy and available this weekend?
Yeah, we're gonna have to see where we're at today. Obviously, yesterday being an off day, making sure that everyone was a constant reminder, make sure that you're resting and recovering. There was a couple guys that had some small things, but early on, especially before conference, we're probably a little more conservative with them. Duke had some stuff going on earlier on where we're still ramping back up, but everything looks good. It's also, he's the kind of guy that even after a day off, he's still going to come back the next day and not be rusty. And so it gives another opportunity for other guys to jump in and make sure we're not rushing him back into everyday playing time. A couple other small nicks here and there, but nothing big, nothing crazy to be concerned about. So my hope is that after I talk with our athletic trainer before practice today, make sure we know who's all good. But like I said, the nice thing is we have a lot of depth, not only on the mound, but defensively. So we always feel like we're in a good spot. If one guy needs a day or two, You trust that the other guys are going to come in and get the job done, and they're looking forward to it. And even the guys that aren't playing, you know, the one day, for example, the one day Duke was not playing, wasn't starting, you know, how he showed up to the yard and looked at the lineup card and how he went about taking care of his pregame and communicating with the other guys. You can never tell that he was or wasn't in the lineup, which is, I think, a valuable asset for guys. Just coming to the field and saying, all right, whatever it says on the sheet, okay, now what do I need to do to help us win today?
Looking at the Ducks, what do you expect out of them? What have you seen out of them? I saw they just swept UCS Bay on the road. That's pretty telling, I guess.
Yeah, I think how we're going to handle this weekend, as long as we do the same things we've been doing: pitch, defend, finish games, you know, both on the mound and at the plate. You know, it puts us in a great spot. We like I said earlier, we talked about free bases and controlling the zone numbers. If you know, we prevent free bases, then it puts us in a really good spot to go out there and win these games. I spend some time looking at video and trying to make sure that our guys are best prepared, but a vast majority of our time is focusing on our development and what can our guys be doing to get better. Because really, if our guys are going out and competing to their ability, you know, I'd put them up against anyone in the country any day. They're just, the bond that they have is so tight and their work ethic is strong. You know, there are going to be days that we have some lulls, but it's the ability to bounce back from those quickly and not let days turn into weeks. And even then, not let an inning turn into multiple innings or a pitch turn into multiple pitches. It's just being really good at being present. So, you know, I think that we have a good matchup for them.
A lot of people, when, you know, you and Waz came in kind of right around similar times, everybody was thinking, you know, this is kind of a new era for what the rivalry can be. I mean, you know, these are two programs that have a lot of resources behind them and close proximity. I mean, what can this rivalry look like if, you know, a future arises where Oregon and Oregon State are two nationally, you know, prominent perennial powers? I mean, you guys are already, but what would it mean to have them be that way too?
I'm not worried about those guys. Like, as far as where I'm going to consume my time and energy and thought, I'm just focused on Beaver baseball and continuing to put together a group of guys that are out to win and compete for national championships every year, on and off the field. So, you know, I try not to put much, if any, thought on what they're doing down the road. You know, our tradition here at Oregon State is to compete, bring in the right people, take care of our community, and do things the right way, be champions in everything that we do. So a lot of that, it means the more you're worried about someone else and pouring your thoughts into how other people are doing it, you know, you're taking away from the time that you give to these guys. So, you know, it's the same thing with national rankings and anything like that. I don't consume much energy into looking into those things.
Kevin, just your thoughts, given your journey, I guess you could say, for the last year and a half, 2 years here, from rehab to the season being lost to finally being able to come back and really fully play. Just how are you feeling, and just some reflection on what the last year and a half or so has been for you?
It's great to be back. Looking back on this weekend, we're already a fifth of the way through the season, so it's a weird feeling to have that, you know, like the season's kind of flying by sort of thing. No, it's just we're happy to be competing and doing what we do best. For
you, what is the coaching changes just sort of been like over, you know, the last 2 years here, going from Case to Bales, and then Yeski leaves, and now you got Mitch, and, you know, just what was that like, kind of cycling through all of those coaches while you yourself are also trying to do this rehab to get yourself back on the field?
I mean, it's kind of a look into what pro ball is going to be like. I mean, every couple of months, or at least every year, you're hoping that you're getting a coaching change because you're moving up the ladder. So it really just forced some guys to grow up and learn how to deal with different personalities. It wasn't a big thing because, you know, they're all Beavs, and we all are very like-minded in how we go about things with hard work and a great attitude and things like that. So it's just been getting used to how they go about things. And at the end of the day, our goal is always to win a national championship. So nothing has really changed there.
Do you feel pretty fortunate in that sense that you ended up with a pretty forward-thinking staff, obviously, with Mitch and kind of the rest of the staff? They seem a little more progressive than maybe some programs around the country.
Yeah, I mean, they see where the game's going because they were a part of a pro organization, and the Mariners are usually more forward thinking, and they're big into data and things like that. So it's been very fortunate to have that, and I think it's prepared me for me and as well as others for the next level, because that's becoming a big part of the game.
You've said on multiple occasions that you have the best bullpen in the country. Could you elaborate on that? Obviously their success speaks for itself, but why would you say that?
We have the best pitching staff in the country. It doesn't matter who it is. We run it out there. We'll put them against any lineup, and I have all the trust that whoever we throw out there is going to get it done. From top to bottom, it's not a whole large skill gap. It's very tight. It's a great group of guys. We all love each other very much, and know if someone doesn't get it done, that, you know, the next guy that comes in is going to do everything they can to make sure that nothing happens, and that we're going to win the game.
Mitch was just sort of talking about this, but it seems like you guys haven't really had a moment this year where you let things snowball. Like if it's one bad inning, it seems like you guys bounce back pretty well. Is that just the resiliency of this group?
Yeah, I think it's just how competitive we are. Knowing that one little thing isn't going to ruin our chances at a win. We can have a bad inning here. We know that the next inning, that's not going to happen. We may go down late in the game. We know that, all right, well, we're not going to give up any more runs, because that's just not who we are. It's very comforting knowing that if we keep putting up zeros, our offense is going to come around. We have all the faith that they're going to score enough runs. That's really all we need. So it's just a lot of trust between everyone on the team.
Hey, kind of random, going back to the Kansas State game. There was something that happened. We haven't gotten you after that game. So there was something random. The umps came up to you and you guys had a big thing in between the innings, and it was right before things went a little downhill for you. What was going on during that? Do you remember that?
Something about I know there's a rule they're trying to limit on people licking their hands. There's a little bit of confusion, I think, with it's okay if you wipe after, or it's not okay at all, or I don't know. It's a every year there's a new rule, especially now with COVID. I think they're trying to really force that, but I don't know. I think it was just a miscommunication, possibly. People not being on the same page, but it's the first game of the season, right? And though that crew that we had down there are all heads of their crews when they go officiate other games. So I think it was just people not being on the same page, but I think that's cleared up now that we're a few weeks in the season. So nothing really to worry about.
Is there anything about that has altered your routine, or anything that's changed up how you pitch, just having to be sanitary or safe in that respect?
No, it's more of a habit than anything. But you find ways to adapt. It's not really that big of a deal. The very worst, you throw the ball out of the game and it gets cleaned up and it gets fixed that way. So.
Hey, Kevin, what's the gauntlet? What does that mean?
It's what every team has to go through in order to beat us. That is our pitching staff.
Tell me the backstory behind that. Where is that? Who came up with that? Where'd that come
from? Nathan Burns came up with that word. I think it was after the first weekend. And it's just that's the presence that we want as a pitching staff. That's the identity that you have to run through something that is not pleasant and very tough to get through. And we take pride in that. And so it's been something that we've talked about as a staff now, and that's what our identity is. So take that with you to the mound. Remember that's what you're a part of, and that teams have to go through us, not the other way around.
You guys are like sitting in the dugout or something, talking, just kind of shooting the breeze, and it came up, or where was the conversation?
Nate and I are roommates, so we were just kind of talking about how the weekend went and how happy we were to see some of our new guys make big splashes, and some of our returners make big improvements from the year before, and how it's just relentless. There's no end to our bullpen.
And now the Gauntlet's kind of your thing. Like you guys kind of, hey, they're facing the Gauntlet. It's you might hear it every day or so around the team.
Absolutely. We started breaking on Gauntlet as a pitching staff, and it's just, and our hitters are starting to buy into it too. You know, they know that. I mean, they face it all fall and winter, so they know every team has to go through it and how hard it is. So they have a lot of trust and faith that even if we're down late in the game, all they got to do is get one, and we're going to hold them wherever the team's at.
We talked to Joe last week, and he was saying that him and Preston will sometimes sit in the outfield and just kind of laugh at other batters when you guys are out there on the bump, just because it's like, thank God we don't have to be the ones seeing this anymore for practice every day. I mean, are they giving you guys any flack like that when you walk back into the dugout or anything about just how good this group is and how good it still can be?
Absolutely. We kind of joke about it all the time that, you know, they make, you know, smart remarks like that, like, hey, I'm glad we don't have to face that anymore and things like that. But I can say as a pitching staff, we're happy we don't have to face our hitters anymore. They were starting to figure us out there at the end. And it was just, I think that's what our fall and winter has really shown how competitive it was, because it made our pitching staff better. It made our lineup better. So it's just it was a great balance to have.
Next up, we've got Joey Mundt. When you guys are ready, go right ahead.
Hey, I mean, Joey, continuing with that same kind of line of questioning that we just threw at Kevin, I mean, what's it like to be a part of this bullpen? Or I guess what you guys are calling the Gauntlet now?
The Gauntlet's awesome, man. Just the depth of the whole staff is incredible. No matter who we call on, there's never like a doubt. Like, I'm never worried about that guy going in. It's just like, he's going to get his job done. And if he doesn't, it's the next guy.
I mean, it seems like you guys have, whether it's lefty, righty, kind of so many guys for so many different situations. Do you think that's sort of what makes this group so special, is that you can kind of throw anybody in any scenario and have somebody who's kind of best made for that specific situation?
Yeah, and I think it's also part of just being like confidence. Like, we've been practicing so long. The fall was so successful, and just seeing that has been awesome.
I mean, we asked Mitch this earlier. Who do you think kind of has the best stuff, if you had to name a name down there?
Oof. Are we talking bullpen or starters in general?
Go bullpen.
Bullpen, I think probably Salgado. I mean, he comes in, he's a flamethrower. He's throwing 96, 97, touching 98, and then he's got a hammer breaking ball. I would never want to face that. So that's my best bet right there.
With Salgado, Mitch was just talking about kind of the energy he brings. Have you seen that so far? Is it kind of fun just having him down there?
Yeah, that dude's a blast. You're going to get to talk to him here soon too, but he's just high energy, high intent. I mean, every time he finishes out an inning, he's fired up. You can see it in him too. It's loud. He's a loud player, and it's awesome to see.
How much more?
What's he like down in the bullpen? What's the conversation like? Like, you know, give us an insight into that.
I mean, bullpen pre-pitching, he's focused. He's ready to go. I mean, we're talking scouting reports, but bullpen the chatter can get a little goofy, as expected. Games can get long, but he's a focused player. He's a good guy too.
Who would you say is the goofiest dude down there?
Without a doubt, Jake Mulholland. There's no question behind that. He's a fun guy. He's definitely a character. He brings the weird side to the team for sure.
Give me your weirdest PC story. Like what does being weird look like when you're Jake Mulholland?
Oh man, if it's like just coming up with funny would you rathers or just random games, he's all over the board. But you'd have to see it in person for sure. I don't know if I can think of anything in particular on the top of my head, but definitely a fun dude.
How much more loose is the bullpen in particular than it was last year? It seems like a really carefree group right now.
Like night and day for sure. You can just tell we're definitely prepared. We know what we're doing, and I don't know if it was just that extra time to get prepared because of the whole COVID layoff deal, but it's awesome to see. It's awesome to be a part of.
And I wanted to ask specifically about, I mean, your journey to Corvallis. I know your brother, obviously playing in Oregon, might have had something to do with it, but what was kind of the appeal of Oregon State to you coming out of high school?
Just knowing like how the history behind Oregon State baseball, and I was really considering even going to U of O because my brother went there, and it was definitely one of my options. But he said, if you aren't coming here to play football, I mean, I'd go to Oregon State. They talk about it there. It's a huge deal, just the history and something I wanted to be a part of. And it's a house divided, but you know, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, coming up on Civil War week, has Johnny been texting you about it at all? Do you guys joke about that?
Yeah, a little bit. He's always supporting the baseball side of it. As long as it's not football, he's all good.
All right, gang, last but not least, we got Bryant Salgado. When you're ready, go right ahead.
Brian, do you think that you have the nasty stuff in the bullpen?
I believe so. I believe that our whole staff has nasty stuff. I feel that every guy brings something different to the table. Every guy has their breaking stuff, a good fastball. So I feel like it's the whole staff that has nasty stuff.
Your first year here, obviously, what's it been like kind of blending in with that group and just getting used to being around that group of guys after coming from Houston?
It's been really fun. It's been a little change, but it hasn't felt like one at all. The guys have been taking me in really good. Feels like I've been at home the whole time I got here, so that's always good.
What does it mean to face the gauntlet?
It just means that you got to go through a guy that's just as good as the other guy that's coming up behind him. And if somebody doesn't get the job done, you know that somebody else will pick him up behind him. So it's really hard to get through that whole staff.
When's the first time you remember hearing the staff referred to as the Gauntlet, and what was your kind of response to it?
Yeah, I definitely heard it after the first weekend. We were all hyped up. Everybody went out there and did their job. I mean, in the fall, everybody was getting better every day. And that first weekend, everybody just went out and showed out. And we were just thinking about it. We loved what we saw from each other. And ever since, we've just been using that as confidence.
I think it was the 8th inning Saturday. You had an inning-ending strikeout, and we're just really fired up. I mean, where does the energy come from?
I just feel very happy, very fortunate to be here, and I bring that to every game. After every inning, I feel like I give a chance to my team to win, and that's always great. I love winning, so that's where the fire comes from.
I saw Woody Williams talking a little smack to you on Twitter. Was he your coach? Did you work with him down in Houston?
Yeah, he was my pitching coach at San Jack. He knows my stuff better than anybody. He's been like the second father basically at San Jack. He's taught me a lot of things, so that's why he chirps up a lot that he'll hit me when he faces me.
Do you think he could?
I would say maybe in my San Diego years he could, and right now maybe if I leave one over the plate, he could still hit it.
I mean, I was curious about your journey from Houston high school and then going to JUCO down there and kind of ending up in Corvallis. Why did you choose to not sign with the Padres out of high school, and what kind of made you feel like Oregon State was going to be the best fit for you?
I just felt like coming out of San Jack, I needed that one more year. You know, I've been getting better every year. I've been getting stronger. My stuff has been getting better. And I just felt that Oregon State was the right program. They have good coaching. I felt at home as soon as they contacted me, and the guys have taken me in well. So I can't ask for more. Very grateful to be here.
What's been the biggest improvement in your games since the Padres took you, or kind of that 2 years?
Yeah, my biggest improvement has just been consistency, throwing a lot more strikes. My curveball has gotten better. My arm has gotten stronger with the program here, with the lifting here, and feels like everything just got better. All my pitches got better.
Have you reached triple digits yet?
Not really, but that's a goal.
You hoping to be there by the end of the year, maybe summer?
Hopefully, yes, sir.
Has it been 98, 97, kind of that
98,
range?
yeah, I've topped out 98 before. I'm trying, man.
This season?
Yes.
If Mully's the goofiest cat down there in the bullpen, give me a breakdown of a couple other guys. Like is there anybody just totally chill? Like I don't know, professorial or zen or what's going on down there?
No, I really feel like every guy has a different personality. I would say Chase Watkins is pretty funny to be around. Reese Sebi has a lot of energy as well. He's one of the most energetic guys I've been around. So every guy has their own personality.
What's Burns' personality like?
He's a little more serious, but he has his goofy times as well. He's always near Molly. So anytime you're around those guys, you're having a good time.
Going down to the old man wing, right? That's where it gets serious.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Mundt?
Mundt, I love it. I love being around that guy. He's he's tall next to me, but I love being around that guy. He's fun. He's always having a good time. He's always looking to get in the game, any situation. He's got confidence in every guy, so he's a great teammate.
And he's got the long hair, obviously, and you got Mully with the beard. What's going on with that?
Like I said, there's a lot of personalities around the team. I'm trying to get my hair going as well, so a lot of personality going around. Sure.
But I mean, obviously, you have some older guys like Verberg and Abel in this program too, or maybe two of the most competitive guys I've ever talked to. Does that kind of ultimately set the tone for what?
Yeah, it definitely sets the tone. Just being behind Kevin as well, just watching him go out in his lives. Every bullpen, he takes it just as serious as he would in a game. So it carries on throughout the whole team. So anytime I go out there in a bullpen, I take that same personality and I just try to take everything serious like if it was in a game.